So let us begin with the Kroneker's theorem. The statement of the theorem goes like this: if f of x is an irreducible polynomial of positive degree, that is, if you assume that the degree of the polynomial is n, then n is greater than 0 over a field f, then there is extension k of f. We have seen that extension field, right? So extension k of f such that degree of k over f is equal to degree of f of x. If f of x has degree n, then degree of k over f must be equal to n, and f of x has a root in k. So f of x is a polynomial in f of x, but it has a root in k. We need to prove this. Or the statement can also be put down like this: if f of x is a polynomial in f of x of degree n, which is greater than or equal to 1, that means it is positive and is irreducible, that is, it is not factorizable further in f, then there exists an extension k of f such that degree of k over f is equal to n, that is nothing but degree of f of x, in which f of x as a root, in which means in k f of x as a root. Okay, so let us prove this by taking into consideration that f of x is an irreducible polynomial of degree n in ring of polynomials, that is f of x, where n is greater than 0. So these things we can assume because f of x is a irreducible polynomial. It is given in the statement and its degree is positive. So we are taking degree to be n and we are assuming n greater than 0. So now we are going to take v is equal to f of x generated by f of x, because I have put it in the bracket, so it is generated by f of x. It is an ideal which is generated by the polynomial f of x. So in ring of integers, that is z, we have seen that if a ideal is generated by a prime number, then it will be maximal. I told you in the previous sessions that a polynomial is irreducible, means it behaves like a prime number. So it follows that v, which is generated by an irreducible polynomial, will be maximal. That is, there exists no other ideal between v and the ring, that is f of x. Okay. So now we can think of the quotient ring or quotient field, that is f of x by v. Okay. So since this f of x by v will be difficult to write further, I'm going to take k to be equal to f of x by v, where this denotes the quotient ring. Okay. Now I'm going to define a mapping phi from f to k. F is the field given to us, k is the extension field of f, and that is nothing but f of x by v. Now let us define this mapping phi by, well, you know that in f it contains elements of the form a comma b comma etc., that is they contain all scalars. So I can take a to be one of the element and I am going to define what is phi of a, and that is given by v plus a. And what do you mean by v plus a? It is the coset generated by a. Okay, since a belongs to f and f of x is the ring of polynomials over f, even a belongs to this capital F of x. Okay, because you can treat this as the constant polynomial. Therefore, since it belongs to f of x and this f of x is contained in capital F of x, so you can treat this a to be in capital F of x, that is the ring of polynomials, and it will be the constant polynomial, right? Now let us show that This phi, which we have defined here, is a homomorphism. Okay. So for homomorphism in rings, we need to check two conditions, one with respect to addition and the other one with respect to multiplication. So addition is addition of two elements, multiplication is multiple of two or product of two elements in the domain. So here in the domain we have taken F. So I am taking A plus B, where both A and B belongs to F. So how we have defined phi? Phi of A is equal to V plus A. So you can write phi of A plus B as V plus of A plus B. And we know that this is a coset. So we have studied that if you have H plus of A plus B, that can be written as H plus A plus H plus B in groups. Similarly, here we can write V of A plus B as B plus A plus B plus B. Okay, but what is V plus A? From the definition of phi, it becomes phi of A, and V plus B becomes phi of B. So let us substitute V plus A is equal to phi of A and V plus B is equal to phi of B. So we have proved that phi of A plus B is equal to phi of A plus phi of B. Therefore, phi satisfies the first condition of homomorphism. Now let us check for the second condition, that is phi of A into B. So here we need to check for the condition of product of two elements, because the other binary operation in a ring will be multiplication. So phi of AB. So phi of AB is written as V plus AB. So this is the coset V plus AB, and this can be written as V plus A into V plus B. So this is product of two cosets. So V plus A is replaced by phi of A and V plus B is replaced by phi of B using the definition of phi. So phi satisfies both the conditions of homomorphism. Therefore, phi is a homomorphism. Now let us check for 1-1 condition. So how do you check for 1-1 condition? That is, if you assume that the images are equal, we need to prove that the elements are equal. So what is the image here? Phi of A and phi of B. Let us assume that these two images are equal, and let us show that A must be equal to B. So phi of A is equal to phi of B is our assumption. So by the definition of phi, we can write this as V plus A equal to V plus B. So this is similar to the saying that two cosets are equal. So when I say two cosets are equal, the elements, suppose if I write H plus A, okay, or H into A also we can say H plus A is equal to H plus B. So if I take this, if I take the inverse of B with respect to addition, and if I form a new coset, that is H plus A plus, okay, I'm adding the inverse of B, that is minus B. Okay, with respect to addition, I can add minus B. Similarly, here also on the right hand side, I can add minus B. So if I add like this, so H plus A plus of minus B, okay, so it gives us H plus of A minus B, and here we get H plus of B minus B, and we know that B minus B will give you the identity with respect to addition, and that will be 0. So you get H plus 0, and we are adding 0 to every element of H, so it becomes H itself. Okay, so when H plus A is equal to H, what do you say? The other property of cosets, that is H plus A, if I add A to H, I am getting back H itself. So what do you mean by that? That element A must belong to H, otherwise it will not be true. Okay, H plus A is equal to H implies that this A must belong to H. Similarly, here, when I add minus b on either side, I get v of a minus b is equal to v. And I can say that v of a minus b is equal to v is similar to h plus a is equal to h. Therefore, that element a minus b must belong to v. So these are the properties of cosets we are using here. Now a minus b belongs to v, and we know that v is the ideal which is generated by the polynomial f of x. What do you mean by generating? So every element in V can be written as a multiple of the generator. So I can write this a minus b, which belongs to V, as the multiple of the polynomial f of x into a polynomial g of x. Where does this polynomial g of x belong? It may be a constant polynomial, it may be a zero polynomial, or it may be a polynomial whose degree is greater than or equal to 1. Okay, it depends on the condition. So it belongs to the ring of polynomials f of x. This we can write because v is generated by f of x. Since these two polynomials are equal, what is degree of a minus b? Both a and b are constants. We know that they belong to the field f. Therefore, it is a polynomial of degree equal to 0 because a minus b is a constant polynomial. So since degree of a minus b is equal to 0, the degree of the right hand side, that is degree of f of x into degree of g of x, must be equal to 0. But by our assumption, we know that degree of f of x into g of x cannot be equal to 0 unless degree of g of x is equal to 0, because f of x is a polynomial of degree n and n is positive, that is it is greater than 0. So when you multiply a degree of positive polynomial with any other polynomial, you can never get a polynomial whose degree is 0. That is, you cannot get a constant polynomial unless and otherwise g of x is of degree 0. Okay. Therefore, g of x becomes 0 here. So here I have given you the reason, because f of x being a polynomial of positive degree, its product with any other non-zero polynomial can never be equal to 0, never be equal to a constant polynomial. Therefore, the polynomial g of x itself is equal to 0. Since g of x is equal to 0, if I substitute in this expression, that is a minus b is equal to f of x into g of x is equal to 0. Therefore, I get a minus b is equal to 0. Since a minus b is equal to 0, I get a is equal to b on shifting this minus b to the right hand side. So to begin with, we took phi of a is equal to phi of b, and now we have proved that the element a is equal to element b. Therefore, the mapping phi is 1, 1. Okay, hope you understood this. Now, I'm going to use one notation, that is f bar is equal to phi of f. What is this phi of f? It is the image of the mapping phi. Okay, because phi is taken to be a mapping from f to k. Okay, so since it is f to k, I can take this image to be f bar, because if I write the mapping here, that is this is the mapping. Okay, so this is the mapping phi. Okay, so and this is f and this is k. So from f to k we are having the mapping phi. So here the image will lie inside k. Okay, that is phi of f. Phi of f will be inside k, because it is the image and k is the domain. So I can take the image to be a subset of k, right? So I'm writing that phi of f as f bar. Okay, instead of using this phi of f everywhere, I can use f bar. So f bar is equal to phi of f. And what does this phi of f contain? It contains all images of elements of f. So if A belongs to F, then phi of A will belong to phi of F, and that I am calling that as F bar, right? So now let us prove that phi is onto. To prove that phi is onto, I am going to take the onto condition from F to phi of F. I am not taking for the entire K. It need not be true for entire K unless and otherwise F and K have the same dimension. So here, if I consider the image, F and its image, that is phi of F, will be of same dimension, because for each element in F, we have an element in phi of F, because phi is 1, 1, right? Now I'm going to take an element V plus A. Why V plus A? Because K is the quotient ring and it contains the cosets of the form V plus A. Now I'm going to take V plus A in F bar, and F bar we know that it is a subset of K. So since V plus A belongs to F bar, which is the image of phi, though this A must belong to F. So when I take V plus A in F bar, A will belong to F such that phi of A is equal to V plus A. So for every V plus A in F bar, I can find an A in F such that phi of A is equal to V plus A. So for every element, I have found a pre-image. So this is the element and A is the pre-image. Therefore, phi is onto. So now we have proved phi is a homomorphism, phi is 1, 1 and phi is onto. So I can say that phi is an isomorphism. So phi is an isomorphism from where to where? From F to F bar. Even though phi is a mapping from F to K, I am taking the isomorphic condition from F to F bar. So I can say that F is isomorphic to F bar. And K is an extension of F bar, because as I told you, this is our F bar and F bar is contained in K. Therefore, K can be treated as an extension of F bar, that is phi of F. And this phi of F is isomorphic to F. Therefore, now K can be considered as the extension of F. So I can consider now K as an extension of F. Okay, so now we can have this, that is K, degree of K over F, because K is an extension of F bar and F bar is isomorphic to F. Now I can think of degree of K over F. Let us check what is the degree of K over F. We need to show that it is equal to degree of the polynomial F of X. For that reason, now K can be treated as a vector space over the field F. Since it is a vector space over the field F, let us check what is the dimension of K over the field F. For that dimension, we need a basis. So the number of elements in a basis will give you the dimension of the vector space. Now let us check whether this S is equal to S. I am considering all cosets of this form. V plus 1, where 1 is the multiplicative identity, V plus X, X is an element of F, V plus X square, that is X into X, etc. V plus X cube plus etc. V plus X to the power of N minus 1. I'm considering these N number of elements. If this S forms a basis of K over F, I can say that this dimension of K over F is equal to N, which is equal to the degree of the polynomial F of X. Now let us show that F is a basis. To show that it is a basis, I need to show that it is linearly independent first, and then it spans. Okay, spans means it generates. If you take any element in K, I need to show that it is a linear combination of the elements of S. So let us consider this S and let us show that it is a basis, right? Now S is a linearly independent set. We need to show that. So I'm considering the linear combination of the elements of S, along with the scalars over the field F. Therefore, alpha naught, alpha 1, alpha 2, etc. alpha n minus 1, they all belong to F. They are all scalars. And these are in the form of vectors. Okay, these cosets are all vectors now, and these are all scalars. And we are equating to the zero element. So whenever you take the linear combination in a vector space, you need to consider its zero element on the right hand side and not exactly the zero. Okay, what is the zero element in K by V? It is V itself, because we have seen in group theory that if you have G by H, what is the identity element of G by H? It is H itself, that is the normal subgroup H. So here it is the maximal ideal V. So equate it to the ideal V here. That will act as the zero element in K by V, right? Now let us multiply the scalar within the coset. So we get V plus alpha naught plus V plus alpha 1x plus V plus alpha 2x square plus etc. V plus alpha n minus 1 into x to the power of n, and that is equated to the zero element V. And we know that sum of cosets can be expressed in this form. That is, if you have h plus a plus h plus b, I can write that as h plus of a plus b. So when I have two elements, I can write like this. When I have n number of elements, I can write like this. V plus alpha naught, alpha 1x plus alpha 2x square plus etc. alpha n minus 1 to x to the power of n minus 1. Okay, put them in the bracket, and that is equal to V. How does this expression look like now? So it is similar to what I told, H plus A is equal to H form. Okay, so when I have H plus A is equal to H, I can say that this A must belong to H. Similarly here, this polynomial must belong to V, right? Since this polynomial belongs to V, so this polynomial can be written as the multiple of the generator of V, that is f of x. So V is the ideal generated by f of x. Therefore, we can express this polynomial as a product of f of x into g of x, where this g of x belongs to f of x, that is the ring of polynomials. The reason for this step is V is generated by f of x, right? Now I say that g of x is equal to 0. So g of x is equal to 0 here. Since g of x is equal to 0, how do you conclude that g of x is equal to 0? Because see, the left hand side is a polynomial of degree n minus 1. But what do you know about degree of f of x? Degree of f of x is equal to n, right? So it is multiplied by another polynomial g of x. Therefore, the product of two polynomials, they have the same degree or more than that, okay? Therefore, f of x into g of x will have degree greater than or equal to f of x, which is equal to n. That means degree of f of x into g of x must be greater than or equal to n. At the most, it can have n. Okay, so right hand side is having a polynomial of degree n or greater than n, and the left hand side is a polynomial of degree n minus 1. So this is absurd. Okay, this cannot happen. This is impossible. It can be possible only if g of x is a polynomial which is equal to 0. That is a 0 polynomial, right? Since g of x is a 0 polynomial, the product will be equal to 0. So I can say that this polynomial must be equal to 0. Since this polynomial is equal to 0, a 0 polynomial can be written as 0 plus 0x plus 0x square plus etc. 0 into x to the power of n minus 1. So I will equate the coefficients of x square, x to the power of n minus 1, as well as I equate the constant. So I get all the coefficients to be equal to 0. So to begin with, I took the linear combination of the elements of S and equated to 0 and showed that each of the scalar which I have taken, alpha naught is 0, alpha 1 is 0, alpha 2 is 0, alpha n minus 1 is 0. Since all the scalars are equal to 0, I can say that S is linearly independent. So I took the linear combination and showed that all the scalars are 0, therefore S is linearly independent. Now the next thing we need to show is S spans K or S generates K. If I take an element in K, I need to show that it is generated by the elements of S. That is, it can be written as a linear combination of elements of S. For that reason, I'm going to take an element in K, that is V plus P of X. Why V plus P of X? Because K is nothing but F divided by V. Okay, sorry, F of X divided by V. So V plus P of X will be the coset in K, and this P of X is an element of F of X. Okay, now we have two polynomials. One is the given polynomial F of X, and the other polynomial which we have taken now is P of X. Now I am going to apply division algorithm for the polynomials F of X and P of X. Since F of X is given to be irreducible, okay, I'll divide P of X by F of X. And I get two other polynomials, that is the quotient polynomial and the remainder polynomial. Okay, so I get polynomials Q of X and R of X belonging to F of X once again, such that the dividend, that is P of X, is equal to the divisor into the quotient plus the remainder, where the remainder is 0 or degree of the remainder polynomial is less than degree of the divisor polynomial, that is F of X. Degree of the divisor polynomial is n, therefore R of X must be equal to 0 or degree of R of X must be less than n. Okay. Now let us consider V plus P of X. So for P of X now I can substitute F of X into Q of X plus R of X. So here I have sum of two elements here. I can split this single coset into sum of two cosets. That is V plus F of X into, sorry, this is Q of X. V plus F of X into Q of X plus V plus R of X. But I can say that this V plus F of X into Q of X is V itself. Why V itself? Because this F of X into Q of X belongs to V because V is generated by F of X. Any multiple of F of X will belong to V. Therefore, this is an element of V. Therefore, V plus F of X into Q of X is equal to V. Okay. So, since this is V plus of R of X will be equal to V plus R of X itself, because whenever you add H to H, you are going to get back the elements of H. Therefore, similarly, V plus V will give you V itself. So here we get V plus R of X. What is the condition on R of X? It is either equal to 0 or its degree must be less than n. So let us consider that to be a polynomial of degree less than n. So I'm going to take a polynomial here whose degree is n minus 1. Therefore, its degree will be less than n. Okay. So when I consider this V plus a polynomial here, I can split this into sum of n cosets. That is the first one V plus C naught, next V plus C1x, V plus C2x square plus etc. V plus Cn minus 1 into x to the power of n minus 1, and I get this expression, right? Now in each of the coset here, I can remove the scalar outside, right? So I can remove the C naught outside, so I'm left with V plus 1. And here I am going to remove C1, so I get C1 into V plus x. Here I can remove C2, so I get C2 into V plus x square. plus etc. Here I am going to remove Cn minus 1. I get v plus x to the power of n minus 1. So I have written this v plus p of x in the beginning, which we have taken as a linear combination of the elements of S, because in S we took v plus 1, v plus x square plus etc. v plus x to the power of n minus 1. So we have expressed an element which belong to K. Okay, so here we took v plus p of x, that we have written as a linear combination of the elements of S. Therefore, S generates K, or S spans K. Earlier S was linearly independent, now S spans K, therefore S becomes basis of K. Since S is the basis of K, K will have the dimension to be equal to the number of elements in S. So in the beginning we saw the number of elements in S was n in number. Therefore degree of K over F is equal to n. But n is degree of the irreducible polynomial f of x. So now we have proved the first part. That is, there exists a extension K of f such that its degree over f is equal to degree of the polynomial f of x. The other thing which we are required to show is f of x has a root in K. So for some element in K, f satisfies that element will satisfy the polynomial f of x. That is, if when you replace this x by that element, we must get equal to 0. So let us consider the polynomial f of x, that to be a0 plus a1x plus a2x square plus etc. Anx to the power of n, because it is a polynomial of degree n, with the condition that an is not equal to 0. Since f of x belongs to v, v is the ideal generated by f of x. So you can write v plus f of x is equal to v, because this f of x is an element of v. When we consider the coset v plus f of x, it will be equal to the identity coset, that is v. Okay. So now let us replace this f of x by these number of elements, that is the polynomial of nth degree, and I can write this as, I can treat this as v plus of a0 plus a1x plus etc. anx to the power of n.